There he is.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the little vacation, but I was on vacation, and now we're back. So, welcome back to the Book Club Bros, baby. The Millionaire Next Door is what we're reading right now, guys. And just letting you know, this is going to be a quick back-to-back episode. So, today is Monday. We're going through part 1, which, if you guys read along, we're reading up to page 71 in the book. And then we're flipping it again and hitting part 2 to keep on that nice schedule. And that will be coming out Wednesday. So tune in if you are live, those 3 people that are listening. Mm-hmm. But so far, guys, yeah, how you guys feeling? I know we were just talking off air. I'm a little groggy-eyed. It's, it's 7:30 in the morning. Landon, on the other hand, is wired. If you guys are listening back, Chiefs pulled it off last night against the Bills. Some say it's a rivalry. Some say it's not.
You got to beat the man to be the man.
Exactly.
Ain't no rivalry around here, but
Victory Monday.
They said what? Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers. It's Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers.
Oh,
sorry.
Yikes! Wow.
That's just what they say.
That's the hot take right there, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let's get to the book.
Let's dive into the book. Yes, The Millionaire Next Door. So, first part, guys. Overall thoughts. Starting off, I really liked how it just started dipping into the facts.
Yeah, I agree.
The facts and the stats.
Yeah.
Did you guys read the preface?
A little. I
did.
Yeah.
You guys read?
Yeah, because it started on page 1, so I was like, yeah. Oh, wait a second. Did I read it? No, I didn't. I read the introduction, not the preface. It was in Roman numerals. Didn't think it counted.
Oh, that's all good. But okay. Well, we'll just dive into the introduction. I have something on page 1.
Do you want to highlight the preface? Was there something in there that was worth it?
It was just really good stuff, just other additional stats. Like, one of the highlights I'm seeing right here is, for the price of this book, which is great because book club. For the price of this book, the reader is essentially buying equivalent of more than $1 million worth of invaluable research and interpretation. Another stat that they added was, over the past 30 years, I have consistently found that 80 to 85% of millionaires are self-made. And yeah, just a lot of good just nuggets in there.
He kind of dives into that more
Mr.
in
Stanley.
the actual book as well.
Yeah, but starting off page 1, I have my highlight on here. Most people have it all wrong about wealth in America. Wealth is not the same as income. If you make a good income each year and spend it all, you are not getting wealthier. You're just living high. Wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend.
I had that same highlight.
Yeah, and I thought it was really good, but
it continues it on the next page where it says, wealth is more often the result of a lifestyle of hard work, perseverance, planning, and most of all, self-discipline.
Yeah.
They talk about discipline a lot. In a few ways, it reminded me of the 12 and a half, just the way Gary is. Like, that's something that me and Chase always talked about whenever we started our own business. Gary V, yeah. Whenever we started our own business, is he was kind of like my launching pad into seeing someone who started their own thing, and just the way that he broadcasted it to the world. He was always like, it was like my phone screen for a while, but it said the one who flosses last wins. So, like, if you flex all your money last, it means you would have accumulated all this money to where now you can not, fake flex or whatever. Act like you got more than you got.
Yeah, just crazy stats. I had another, little 2 tiny ones on page 2. Nearly 1/2 of our wealth is owned by only 3% of our households. Of the entire $22 trillion in America, which is crazy. And then on the flip side, a little lower on the page, without Social Security benefits, almost 1/2 of Americans over 65 would live in poverty.
Yeah, that was a crazy
Wow.
stat.
That was like bone chilling.
The first one was like, it makes sense, but it's unbelievable. Like, I saw this thing on Twitter the other day where it was like, Jeff Bezos made $7.19 million every 13 minutes in 2023, which means he was making more money than the vast majority of people were making their lifetime every 13 minutes.
Yeah.
That's how much money he was making in 2023. It's just so whenever all that's going to, and money and power go hand in hand. So, the more money you have, the more you want to probably hang on to it and do. I mean, once you get to be that wealthy, but I was just it all checks out. A lot of money is in very small groups.
Yeah.
which
crazy.
they earned it to a certain extent. Yeah.
But
why does
yeah.
it get
Well, we'll kind of find that out. There's some stats on there about like.
some earning it versus
Yeah.
inheriting it?
But yeah. What do you guys have? No, the next thing I have is on page 9, for some highlights. But
Yeah, I was gonna say just this whole like portrait of a millionaire thing. They give all these different scenarios of what a millionaire could look like on page 8, and I mean, like I was telling you earlier, it's just there's so many like there's people who are millionaires, and like you said, they're self-made. Most of them are self-made, which is like it's crazy. Self-made and first generation wealth. Um, but just them painting the picture of like who a millionaire is just crazy. Like there's so many people you wouldn't expect. And then like another thing, I don't know if it was this one exactly, but they were talking about how like high income earners, sometimes like people don't get to be millionaires, even if you're making like 250K a year. Like some people are just spending a majority of it, as opposed to the people who are millionaires who are only using like what, not even a full 10% of their income, and they're just saving it all.
And I feel like this day and age, athletes are like the best example for that
Yeah.
because there's so much money like in basketball now. Like we've talked about it on previous episodes where it used to be like a job.
Yeah.
Like you were a UPS driver, you were a basketball player, like making, $45,000 and going and doing whatever on the side. But now it's like so much money in it, and then the lifestyle that comes along with it, right? If you're someone who's like Joe Ingles, and you're just like, kind of a regular guy, or Nikola Jokic would be a better example. Someone who's super, super popular, but like doesn't want to drive a Bugatti and doesn't want to do all this and that. That's how you become like super wealthy. But the rest of the league, who's like showing up in Rolexes and, the different stuff like that, you see them just like spending their money on whatever it is. So much to the point that even rappers come out and even players will come out and be like, I get fake jewelry just because it's not a good investment to spend that much on a watch, and you make that much money, people think it's real anyways.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
Yeah, they kind of talked about it. I don't know if it's in this section, but about how the society and culture, where it's like if they actually filmed and made a TV show about millionaires, it'd be like the most boring
Yes.
TV show.
Yeah.
Yes, like it'd get
That was a
canceled.
big segment.
Yeah.
Because it's like they don't do anything. It's
Yeah.
they just have their money and they do what they
Yeah,
do,
they
and
just
that's it.
It's like a typical normal life.
Yeah.
But I have page 9. I just had one of the portraits of the millionaires. What Miguel pointed out was, on average, our total annual realized income is less than 7% of our wealth. In other words, we live less than 7% of our wealth, which is crazy to think about. Like your entire living.
Less than 7%, not 7. Less than.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But yeah. Well, now I do want to jump to page 12. And obviously, we're going to be really talking about wealthy. So I think it's just good to know for the audience what that means in this term of this book. And the author defines being wealthy as defining the threshold of being wealthy as having a net worth of $1 million or more. A net worth. So that's including your stocks, everything, your investments, your assets, like your house and stuff like that. So it's not making $1 million or more in income. It's just what's your worth. If you sold everything, that's would equal $1 million.
And then it even tells you how to calculate that on the next page.
Did you guys actually do the calculation?
I didn't need to.
Yeah, you didn't need
I
to.
didn't need to, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Realistically, yeah.
Well,
same.
I wanted to know. I did it, and I wanted just to know, like,
Flexing.
no, definitely not. I just wanted to see how far I am. Definitely very, very far. But I mean,
I'll let you know when I get started.
Definitely when you go back though, it makes sense, like, because the portrait of a millionaire is like around the 40 to $50 year mark, and a bunch of us were very young, we're only in our 20s.
Just thinking now, it makes me wonder like how a lot of these, what do you say, millionaires are like self-made, right? Self-employed, probably started their own business. Like you'll see it in the range of, I'm sure there's some business ones out there, but even like carpet cleaning or something like that. I bet a lot of these people get there faster by not going to college.
Oh
by
yeah.
not
What
accumulating
kinda
that debt and stuff like that, just by just like, oh, I'm gonna Gary V, right? Like, just I'm gonna take this wine business that my dad's doing, I'm just gonna make it better,
yeah.
or I'm gonna do something like this and like create my own business. That's like, because I mean that right there automatically, like I'm not even getting started until my dad's taken care of, because you have to factor that in,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not right now. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that is they do talk about that. I've
Yeah.
I've read ahead because I was ready for I'm
oh
ready
well, you
for
better no stay out of it.
I'm
Then.
ready for
Come on
part
now.
2, but
Stay out of it then.
you are correct. You are correct.
I figured.
Um
Gosh,
but
darn it. Getting a time machine.
let's see here. And then I think on page 14 it kind of defines you as two types of people. You're either a PAW or a UAW. PAW, a prodigious accumulator of wealth, or a UAW, an accumulator of wealth. Basically, PAW is to be well positioned. You should be worth twice the level of wealth as expected, or a UAW, which is the opposite if you're less than that. Which I thought was crazy. Like, that's so up there. Like, twice the worth that you're expected
Mm-hmm.
is wild to me. That just seems so far out there, but
But this book pushes frugality a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's just like, if you're not going out to eat or doing all these things, I mean, it's almost like it's almost hard to imagine how much money you're like saving and stuff like that, Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, crazy to imagine.
But yeah, did you guys have any other things for I think this is one chapter, right? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like on page 18, they were talking kind of about specifically our economy, and it's honestly different than a lot of other ones. And it says the American economy is a fluid one at the bottom of page 18. There are many people today who are on their way to becoming wealthy, and there are many people who are spending their way out of the affluent category. So it's like, you accumulate all this wealth, and then here's the thing is like, you have some type of life event happen. Your significant other passes away. You were saving together. It was your tandem. Spend it all or something like that. Whenever you're going through it or something, they just say that, people on the way to the top are getting there because of the people on the way to the bottom, and the stuff like that is how they were kind of picturing the American economy.
Yeah, and like what was it? America is like one of the highest
Like
consumer
Mm-hmm.
consumer ones. That's
yeah,
and that's part of it.
consumerism.
Yeah.
We're like one of the most wealthy, but also the like most spending.
And the spending comes from the bottom, not the top, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like the people that are not gonna, that are putting a cap on themselves or something.
Building on top of that, also I highlighted something on page 20 about just typical income for households. Said income is highly correlated with net worth. More than 2/3 of millionaires in America have annual household incomes of 100,000 or more, which, if you really think about it, is not that much.
No,
like,
it's not.
But at the same time, it does like say, like I earlier was talking, like, it's not just about how much money you make; it's about what you can save.
right.
It does say income. It does help though. Like the higher like obviously,
Right.
because if you're making, say 15,000 and your net worth is like 45, and you're like, oh my gosh, like look at this person, it's just like 45 is less than half of what the normal, So it's like, if you want to get to that spot, yeah, obviously seeking a job where you can get more money in is going to have a pretty positive correlation with how much net worth you can accumulate.
Yeah.
Because whenever they're talking about the millionaire next door, they can say not everyone wants to be a millionaire, but isn't that like the mark? It's not the mark, but it's a mark of like, oh, like this person's a millionaire, because there's billionaires, trillionaires now. So like, if you can get to be a millionaire, it's almost more feasible than it used to be. So that's where it's just like, that's where I like how they did say, like, it's not just about your income, but your income being higher does correlate to your net worth just like being better, which is kind of just like common sense a little bit, but they did kind of bring that out.
Now, also, I thought it was interesting on page 21 how it said, what about the number of years of an average member of Ancestry? So now it switches. So it talks about, this kind of section goes from like what is a millionaire, because then it goes into like what types of typical groups there are, what types of ancestry groups like English, German, Irish, and stuff. And then it says what number of years does an average member of ancestry group has been in America? The longer time here in America, the less likely they will produce a disproportionately large percent of millionaires, which is crazy. So it's like building on what Miguel said earlier, it's usually the first generation immigrants are like the most likely to become millionaires, and then it's almost downhill from there.
But it makes sense in a way, where it's like, one person has to work for it. They even explain it.
Yeah.
It's like one person works for it, and then unless like everyone's, how do you balance that? I mean, it's something that Miguel's gonna have to, like, how do you balance like wanting to give the best life to your kids, but at the same time like trying to instill like discipline? Because the way humans tend to work, where it's like once you're conditioned to some type of behavior. So if you're used to getting money, you're not gonna have to be like, your dad was like, where's my next meal coming from? If you don't ever feel that ever, you can't really be this. You can't have the same type of hunger or desire for something at a certain point.
Right. You have to like manufacture it.
You have to manufacture it, and some people can, and those people are should be almost more impressive. Like if you have to fight for your life, nobody wants that. But then you see it from UFC fighters to anything else. Like it's like creates that dog. You try and tell their kids, no one is willingly getting in that UFC ring.
Right.
For the most part. Like it's typically people that are trying to fight their way to get out of the UFC ring eventually. And that's just a small example, I feel like.
And we kind of saw that also on Chris Paul's book. He was mentioning about like, hey, my come up is completely different than what my kids are doing. And it's just like hard to relate to them because they're going to deal with different scenarios that I never grew up with. So it's like, how do I teach him that ability?
Yeah, like the book that I was reading that we almost did on the podcast, instead of that, I'm just reading it outside. He's an NFL player who grew up in Compton, and he's like, yeah, I mean, like I couldn't wear a Boston Red Sox hat. I had a gun pointed at me. My football field was shot up, this and that. And he lives in like one of the nicest SoCal areas now. Glass windows, private neighborhood, private school for his kids. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense to like be like, no, I want you to grow up in Compton. Even though like all of his, like a bunch of his friends got shot and killed. Like you can't put your kid in that situation if you can avoid it. But it's like those situations tend to breed the most desire sometimes. So it's like, it's a brutal situation.
Yeah. Anything else do you guys have for the introduction?
The one, actually we kind of already touched on that with the first generation Americans tend to be self-employed. But no, other than that, I mean.
Yeah, that's that whole Victor and his children thing.
Oh, I actually highlighted that too.
Yeah. I pretty much re-emphasized the fact that like people, I mean, we were literally just talking about it. Like his kids went to college and did that, and now they're UAWs because they became, as they used, Americanized, and they just don't understand the fact that you have to work hard and keep your money instead of working hard and then just spending it all.
It's crazy to think about, like even like that's kind of what college almost does to you. And we could probably have that discussion a different day on what college is actually set up for. But like it is almost conditioned where you're like, you're around all these people, and then a bit like everyone goes there a little bit different, like from their family, and then you almost come out like the same way as everybody else to a certain extent. You're at least a more watered down version of yourself. Because it's like, everyone wants to party. Not everyone will, but everyone wants to go out and like, spend money and hang out and do this certain stuff. Because like otherwise you can't. Like it's tough to be friends just like going home to the dorm every day. Like you go and do stuff, and then you just get used to that type of lifestyle. For the most part, obviously there's outliers. Those outliers probably end up in this book, but it's like, yeah, it is definitely a more like learned behavior, especially once you get to college.
Yep. Frugal, frugal, frugal is the next section. They live well below their means. I thought this was kind of crazy how low below their means they are.
Yeah, bro.
I thought this was a really good section. I didn't have too much highlights on this section though. I thought this was interesting though, where they started talking about like quiz shows and stuff on Top of 30, and it was like viewers of these quiz shows have lots of empathy for the contestants. Looking at the top ratings of such shows enjoy People love to view their surrogate other winning motor vehicles, boats, appliances, and money. Why don't quiz shows offer tuition scholarships as prizes? It's because most people want immediate gratification. They don't want to trade a prize of, say, a camper van for 8 years in a night school, even though a college degree can translate into a value equivalent to more than a dozen vans. So that consumerism,
Yeah.
that
We saw
American social.
Dude, we saw that literally so firsthand with the COVID relief checks.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Dude,
my
that was the
gosh.
craziest thing ever. We were in the
Yeah.
middle of that too. Like, it was in the middle of like the PlayStation 5 being released, and all over it was just like, give me my COVID check so I can get a PS5.
Yeah.
Because we were stuck inside anyways for most people.
What it like?
Dude, it was nuts.
Foot Locker, because Foot Locker was a public company, it had like their best quarter ever, and it was
Mhm.
right after that because people were just buying Jordans
just
with it.
blowing,
Yeah.
just blowing their COVID
Just
checks and stuff
blowing
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's where it's just like, that's how you know, like, we have a horrible relationship with whatever that is, because like you
Yeah.
get that money in and you still get it, even knowing that like the majority, like, I'm sure some people used it for what they needed,
Mhm.
but the people that really, really needed to use it for something probably already had the money.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everyone else. It's like, I need the money, and then all right, now I can get this and continue to get by on what I had.
Yeah.
What did you guys do with your COVID check?
Bro.
Did you get one?
I got one of them. I only got one COVID check though.
Really?
Yeah. I only got
What'd
one
you
COVID
do,
check.
Miguel?
Bro.
Did you blow it?
I was in New York for a month. I'll just say that. Like, I lived in New York for a month, bro.
That is dope.
I was having fun. I mean,
That is
I
dope, man.
can't.
Yo, that's dope.
That first, bro, when that first check hit, cause I was getting weekly, cause right before COVID hit, I was working. I think I
Yeah, what were we even? Did we even know you yet?
Yeah.
No, it was before we knew
That
you.
was
No,
before.
yeah.
It was
It was
before.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause that's 2020. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
was-
Literally the year before.
You came out, and
Um,
that's when we met.
Yeah.
Out of
so,
COVID,
yeah, bro. No, I was getting unemployment too. Cause my mom early on, she was like, yeah, like, just, she's so funny. She's like, go sign up for unemployment. Cause like, I guarantee you guys are gonna get shut down. And I think I was working at Chick-fil-A again. Cause I had moved, and then, I forgot, bro, what job. Oh, this is right after I left Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Whoa, crazy time, bro.
Whoa.
But I
You're like
literally-
forever ago
yeah,
now,
bro,
dude.
like,
It's got to be going
I
down
left
memory lane.
there, and I worked at a Chick-fil-A at the mall, and literally after a week of me working there, they're like, yeah, like, we're shutting down, like, so I signed up for unemployment, bro. I was making a lot of money off of unemployment. Like,
Really?
they were paying people. Like, I got the shorter end because I'm like, okay, I know they're gonna tax this, and I don't really need that much money, but because I was still living with my parents, so yeah, bro. I think the check was like, it was like $650 a week.
Wow.
Just like
That's
Just
solid.
sitting. You just sitting there.
doing nothing. I'm
I
like,
mean, it was a
what in the
crazy
world,
time.
bro?
I mean, to a certain extent, like
yeah,
it was no way to know how they were going to handle that because
Yeah.
COVID was crazy.
Yeah. So you had the unemployment, and
I
then
got
you had
that
the COVID check.
stimulus check. Yeah, bro.
I'm surprised that they. I mean, I don't know how they run that. I'm surprised that they were sending it to.
Bro, everybody. was
Like
getting it,
everybody
bro.
could get it. Yeah.
Literally. Even when Jessica was living in New York, like, bro, her unemployment check was way more than mine. I'm like, it makes sense because their economy is so much more. They got money flowing in New York, but yeah, she was
That's
making
crazy.
a lot of money, bro. And I was just
Wow.
like, what in the world? So yeah, I lived there for a month off that check.
Wow,
basically.
that's
So,
crazy.
He, I know
times.
that he had gotten at least a few of the unemployment check, or not the unemployment check, the COVID checks. We had to work through COVID.
Yeah.
But
I
I think one of them was for like
one.
a camera, right?
I bought that camera.
Nice.
I bought all of our filming stuff
Nice.
for the COVID.
Yeah,
I'm just
bro.
now remembering. I put half of it towards my student loans.
Mhm.
I got one, and luckily my mom did send it to me because it went to my parents. I got one of them, and I put half of it towards my student loans, and then I probably just spent the rest because I was making like $100 a week at that point
Bro,
in
I
time.
feel you,
I was
bro.
making like $120 a week at that point in time.
Yeah.
Did you
So
guys
crazy.
did you guys do a business, like the business checks?
No.
For like
No,
we were
no,
making
we didn't
no
do
money.
that. We didn't
were
do the
making
we didn't do the
no-
loans and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I said we were making no money as far as the business goes. Like, what was it? They were paying like me $70 a week and you nothing
Yeah.
at that point in time.
Jeez, bro.
So it was all just at the gas station yet because we weren't generating any
At the
money.
time.
Man,
Yeah.
crazy. That's good to look back on. Not really.
Yeah. In hindsight.
In
Oh
hindsight.
man, I mean,
Yeah.
we lived. That's like, I always think about that. Like, I remember talking to people like, "Hey, we're living through something that will never happen again. Like,
Yeah.
this is like almost like a
History
world
book.
war
It's in the
here.
history
Yeah,
book. Speaking of World Wars,
you know. I mean, hopefully we don't see a third one. But, anyways, moving on.
it's not that
Frugal,
kind of
frugal,
podcast.
frugal. Millionaire Next Door. Obviously, most people want immediate gratification. I think we all did that here, with our COVID checks. But, yeah. Does anyone else have any highlights?
I had on 30, it says just what happens. It's talking, just like kind of posing a question. It says, what happens when you tell the average American adult that he needs to reduce his spending in order to build wealth for the future? He may perceive this as a threat to his way of life. And I think that, like, that's like basically the natural way to, like, if you're living a certain way and you got to think you got to cut back, how tough that can kind of be mentally. But I do think it's better to read this book early and like almost get it before you're doing too much. You know,
Yeah.
like if you get conditioned to like a way of life and it's like, hey, look, you can't afford it anymore, as compared to like, hey, once you start making this money, you're just making money now. Once you start making this money, like, don't get too crazy. Like, you know, that's why I think we're kind of catching this a little bit on the front end before
Yeah.
you could get some of those expensive habits. Because I'm always the kind of person, like, I'd rather live like a pretty, not even reserved lifestyle, but a pretty just like kind of consistent, not going too crazy, and then save that money and then go crazy for a weekend or a week, like a vacation type thing.
Mm.
Like a vacation, then in general, just like kind of not feel like you got to splurge every night of the week or whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, vacations are definitely necessary. I bet you it says somewhere in this book later where like, hey, definitely go on vacations, but, you know, save up for it. And
Have it
like
planned
that's
out. They
that's
talk
your
about
budget,
planning
you
and
know.
stuff.
But yeah, shout out to JCPenney making actually really nice suits too.
Right.
33.
Dude, right? They talked about how much, that's where you see it really come to, like, really get crystallized when they're talking about like these millionaires haven't spent more than $100 on a pair of shoes,
Yeah.
or $50 on a watch, or like $100 on a suit, or something like that. That's
You're like, that's crazy.
yeah.
He's like, I
But
mean,
you get sold the other way. They talk about it where it's just like, buy this suit, it's gonna be worth it for 10 years. You're just gonna reuse it, and you're gonna look great in it. And then all the time, you never know if something's gonna go wrong, like it gets ripped or something like that. Where it's just like a lot of these people just play it safe. Like I'll get suits for the whole family for $200, not one $200 suit.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That was good. That
To
was a good
read
part.
that part,
to
yeah.
read. Yeah.
but yeah, moving on. I thought this was very interesting. Was this stat? I don't know why. I guess I just really liked all the stats. Most of my highlights are stats. On 37, it says nearly 95% of millionaire households are composed of married couples. In 70% of these households, the male contributes at least 80% of the income. But then it moves on at the very bottom.
Yes, I know.
And
where
it
you're
says,
going.
ode to his frugal
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
And it just said, basically saying that, like, what really helps you, like, the household become net worth millionaire is having a frugal relationship, not yourself, but also your partner.
It literally says above that, it says most people will never become wealthy in one generation if they are married to people who are wasteful. I was like, oh man, it says a couple cannot accumulate wealth if one of its members is a hyper consumer. It's just basically flat out laying it out. Like, you even see those like, I mean, I don't know that any of us have that, but like, we're just like, this significant other just wants every handbag and every pair of shoes and every like clothing outfit and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it can get crazy.
Did anyone have any fights when we were talking about this? We were like, babe, you're a hyper consumer.
Oh, man.
Hey, we need to chill.
You got to
Thank
soft launch
goodness.
that one. You got to soft launch that one.
Even if I waste like $5, she's like, "Why would you?"
That's great.
Oh,
man.
really?
That's
She's
good.
on you like that?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I
Good
mean,
for her.
she'll spend money on the stuff like, you know, nice stuff whenever she wants to, and she has the money for it. But if like 9 times out of 10, she's like, "Yeah, I'm not trying to waste any money. Like, don't. Why are you trying to waste money?"
Mm.
So,
That's good.
yeah, bro.
Nice.
You guys have anything? I have something on 41. Other than that, do you guys have anything?
I did a couple highlights on 40 where at the top where they're just saying They became millionaires by budgeting and controlling expenses, and they maintain their affluent status the same way. Have you ever noticed the people who you see jogging day after day? They're the ones who do not need to jog, but that's why they are fit. Those are the wealthy work at state. Whoa. Those who are wealthy work at staying financially fit, but those who are not financially fit do little things to change their status. I was like, I mean, yeah, I like how they put it kind of in just plain sight for you to just look at. Like, it makes sense, and it's what we all know, kind of like everyone works out to get back in shape, and it's like, oh, I get in shape. You can't just stop working out.
Yeah.
You'll start to get out of shape.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. It's the same way where once once I become a millionaire, then I won't have to do all this budgeting anymore. I don't know that it would work that way.
Right. If you ever get there.
Yeah. Oh, not me specifically.
No. Like,
I'm just
if,
kidding.
yeah, theoretically.
I got
Not
you.
trying to
I'm
take a
just
jab
mad-
at you.
That's great. What'd you have on 41, you said?
Yeah, I was just saying, like, how it kind of said people, millionaires have the mindset of paying themselves first.
I was, bro.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah, yeah.
Which I don't really understand how that works.
It's tough.
Technically, but it says many call this pay yourself first strategy. These people invest a minimum of 15% of their annual realized income before they pay sellers for their food, clothes, home, credit, and the like. But like, to me, I'm like, don't you get taxed on that? Or like, is it written off when you invest? I don't know. I think it is.
Is
that because you're investing? Like, you don't. Well, I don't know, because you make that money.
Yeah.
Like, and then I don't know. That part I don't understand.
Do you think it's just talking from like the standpoint of like, make sure you're taking care of yourself? Like, you don't think it's through that lens? Like, make sure you're giving yourself at least 15% of whatever you're making or whatever. Like, don't cut yourself too short just trying to grow whatever you're doing, because at the end of the day, like, if your business is doing well and you're not paying yourself, you're choosing to like, oh, I'm going to put it up. Like, this is going to be a huge flashback, but we did a podcast interview with with a guy who opened up his own sneaker store, and he's like, yeah, I don't make any money off this. Like, everything goes back into the business.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember who his name was, but he had his own sneaker shop, and he's like, yeah, we don't even really pay ourselves. Just all goes back into the business, That's a cool model if you're making plenty of money to get by on your own. I don't know if that's the vantage point that it's trying to talk about, but like, make sure if you're doing good work, that you're paying yourself adequately, maybe to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it
Unless it's just talking about percentage based, but
yeah, it's something where like it's got to be some tax incentive or something where like because you get taxed on what your income is.
Right.
So then like it's like you're losing 15%, but you still have to pay the taxes on that 15%. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But that was my
taxes are confusing in the U.S.
Yeah, that's why I'd recommend to get you a CPA.
Yeah.
Did anyone actually answer any of these questions that it says? Like, question 1, does your household operate on an annual budget? Did you guys actually like mentally, like,
definitely
say yes or no?
Yeah. While I was reading it, I was like,
You're like,
The first one, it's like, yes, we understand how much we make, but do we like? I mean, we do. We definitely have tried, but it just hasn't been successful. Especially like freelance work, and then with what my fiance does, it's like
very random
here and there. So it's like, oh man. But we try to. That's what I said in my head when I read that.
I know. I thought it was crazy how they talked about for question 2, like, do you know how much you spend on food, clothing, and shelter and stuff like that? And it's like, I mean, you have a grocery budget, but then like,
you never know how much you spend.
But I mean, you try to stick to that budget, but sometimes you go over, which means like, sometimes you go under, which means sometimes you'll go over, and then I used to actually be pretty good with like keeping us to a pretty good food budget, but like there's the times where you go to the gas station and get a candy bar or something like that, and then like like just a few different things, like candy bar, energy drink, whatever, it's like $8. You do that 2-3 times a week. That's unrealized money over time, plus like going out to eat and stuff, but not to that extent. Definitely not clothing. That was the one where I was like, not even.
Right.
Like, there's no clothing budget. Like, I'll get every once in a while, I'll get something that I like, but like not very often.
Yeah.
But you don't even realize it. Like, it's not factored in anywhere.
Right. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I spent $1,000 this year on clothes. You're like,
Yeah.
what did I
Did I
buy?
buy?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, that's why I love my app. That wine app. You need a budget app.
Yeah.
Stuff is awesome. Yeah, and then question 3, do you have clearly defined set of daily, weekly, monthly, annual, and lifetime goals?
Ooh.
I did not. I was like,
Yeah.
I
I was
was like, daily?
Yeah, daily
like-
is
I was like, man, I'm trying to just get through the day.
yeah. I feel like that's a routine though. That's
Yeah.
the way I think of it. It's like what is your daily like as far as like your daily goes, what is your routine? That's
Mm.
how
Oh,
I
okay.
think
If
of that.
anything, I have better daily goals than
Yeah.
anything else.
Then lifetime?
Yeah, yeah, because especially with what we do, I mean, it's very contingent on like what I would I mean, we'll see what ends up happening, but yeah, we don't have like a 10, 15, 20-year plan. We have so much change, especially what we do off camera, like very rapidly right now. We're trying out new things, don't really know what's going to happen or how what's going to work. So I'm not saying that's the reason I haven't set the like lifetime and annual goals and stuff, but it feels a little easier to set daily, weekly, kind of
Yeah.
even monthly stuff.
Does anyone have anything before 46?
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
You highlighted the same thing.
Yeah, you highlighted that too. It's in bold, so I'm not surprised. But
And it's kind of cheap. I just circled it. If it's in bold, I just circle it.
yeah, it says financially independent people are happier than those in the same income age cohort that are not financially secure. I like how it references it as a financially independent, not saying like, hey, you know, people that are millionaires are happier because like obviously people are like, yeah, okay, like obviously because they're worth that, but like literally just living well below their means and they're knowing that they're okay, that which is crazy to think like, and it's true, it's very true, where people just have that money stress and they don't even realize it, and then until they don't have it anymore and they're like, wow, like
Yeah.
I mean, the vast majority of people live paycheck to paycheck.
Mhm.
Like it even talks about it, but I'd say even further. Like, I mean, almost no one. I don't actually guess, but not very many people I know could just be like, especially in my age group, I guess, could just be like, if my job stopped, I could make it to the end of the month. Like
Mhm.
I would need to I would need to find a different job right now and make about the same amount of money. I'm not saying I would maybe have to make the exact amount that I'm making, but it'd have to be somewhat close.
Mhm.
Like most people kind of live that way, but like you said, it kind of becomes your routine where it's just like until you can break out of it, like you were saying, where you don't even realize it, like it's just part of your routine. Like I'm not really worried about money because I know I'm gonna work for the next however many months, years, whatever. Like I don't plan on stopping working at 26,
Mhm.
but at the same time, if my money got all the way cut off and I couldn't do anything, like some type of action or something like that, like we're not set up to just be a one income household right now and get by, let alone no income household.
Yeah.
Like they'll talk about people that can go years without working again
Yeah.
and
just
still
wild.
be fine.
That's
Yeah.
the
Can you
what do they
imagine?
call it? The go to hell fund?
That's
Yeah.
What it is.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, building on top of that, the next big bold highlight on 52. One earns to spend. When you need to spend more, you need to earn more. And I think that's the typical mindset for a lot of people,
Mhm.
you know,
Consumerism.
which is, you know, the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. It's like,
Mhm.
hey, that paycheck's getting bigger. That means I can afford this, this, this.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're still looking, you're waiting for that money to hit the next week.
It's either that or the older you get, the more stuff you actually have to pay for, you know? Now you got to pay for car insurance, used to be on your parents. Now you got to pay for health insurance, used to be on your, like certain things like that. Then so
Health insurance is expensive.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. But yeah, no, it's I mean, I was thinking about this in the frugal chapter. My grandparents, they I don't know exactly how much money they have, but they're very well off and like they're like fully retired.
How old are they?
Bro, I think they're in their 70s.
70s?
Yeah. Maybe their 80s, but you know, they just look so good. Might be, who knows? But yeah,
that's what
bro,
happens when you don't got no money stress.
yeah,
Just look younger,
They-
look better.
bro, my grandfather just gardens and my
Dude.
grandmother just hangs out and cooks and cleans all day. But they have a lot of money, and my pops was telling me, he's like, yeah, like my dad, he would, instead of buying like the BMW early on, like they kept the same car for years and now they drive a Lexus. And he's like, another thing they would do is like clothing. Like they would just keep the same clothes, save all their money, and then also like food, like the whole gardening thing. It's like, yeah, my grandfather is gardening, like making his own food. So a lot of the stuff that they spend at the grocery store is just like extra, basically.
Not to
So
mention how much healthier that probably is
Oh,
yeah,
compared to
yeah.
the
exactly,
food
bro.
in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, holy.
And even now, like I'm in my at my parents' house, bro. I can go in the backyard and like pick like certain things from the garden.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
You know?
it's pretty cool, bro.
That's
It's a
awesome.
nice it's nice to
They
be
got
able
like
to do that.
spices and herbs and stuff.
Everything, bro.
That's
Literally.
super
everything.
nice.
So your mom likes to garden, or who is it?
My
is the
pops.
grandson? Your dad.
He,
Okay.
yeah, bro. He,
He's got the
Very
green
nice.
thumb.
bro.
Hey,
If you see the backyard, like I'll have to show you guys a picture.
dude, that's cool. Cause I mean, if you're gonna have a big garden, it is kind of like you almost need not. Oh, I don't want to offend anyone, but like it helps to have a guide, like to be
Yeah,
able,
yeah,
like
yeah.
my grandpa used to help my grandma
Mhm,
with her garden.
mhm.
It was her garden, but like he would do all the, getting all the dirt
yard
like
work.
tilled for it, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the yard work for it, the
Yeah.
pulling the weeds and the stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, bro. But they,
You got a big yard. You gonna do a garden?
If I can get it fenced in, probably
True,
not. We got a
true.
tree right over the top of us.
Oh,
It's
that's
just gonna be leaves, leaves in the garden.
oh my.
We got a lot of bunnies too, man. They just
Oh
eat it
really?
right up. We got bunnies
Holy
galore
crap.
down our road.
Oh man. Moving on. I got something at 55, but it's another bold.
Right.
Anyone else got anything?
Oh, go ahead.
To build wealth, minimize your realized taxable income and maximize your unrealized income, wealth, capital appreciation without a cash flow. Which is very interesting to think about. Like, yeah, it's just like what it comes down to is like investing, stuff like that. That doesn't, you don't need it. It makes its own
Mhm.
money. So when you put it in stocks, it grows over time, stuff like that, without putting in any more money. Same thing with like assets, like houses and stuff. Typically, they go up.
Yeah, bro. Owning property is just, oh my
I know it's a
gosh.
wild time right
It's really
now.
tough to do that down here, though.
Yeah,
right now, for
especially
sure.
It's getting better.
now.
It's getting better,
Yeah, yeah,
little by little.
yeah.
That's a good attitude to have. I'm not sure the numbers back that up.
I thought this was interesting on the next page. How much does a typical American household realize in income each year? Now, I don't know when this was written.
I think it was 2007, right?
2007. So this is a little outdated, I think.
Mhm.
So I'm curious to see what it is now, but
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure it's
yo.
still is a little.
Because it's been
Loaded.
it's gone crazy the past couple years. Like this would almost made more sense, like maybe pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way,
But
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, how much does a typical American household realize in income each year? About $35,000 to $40,000 a year, which is the household. So that means like,
Wow.
yeah, that's per house. So I mean, that's mom and dad are making, 20K,
Yeah.
and that's typical. The result of this typical household in America pays the equivalent of more than 10% of its wealth income in taxes each year. How about the millionaires who we surveyed? On average, their annual income tax bill is an amount equal to a bit over 2% of their wealth. That is one of the reasons they remain financially independent. So I think that's just crazy. Like you're talking, they're saving 8% per year without getting taxed just because of the strategies that they're using about just like investing into other assets
Mhm.
and stuff that isn't taxed is crazy to me. Like that's,
Smart move.
yeah, and that's probably only scaled up even more and more.
Yeah. I was gonna say 35 to 40,000 at that time. We're probably looking at that as like 50 to 60.
I say almost double, like almost double, just with how it seems.
Yeah.
That's well,
This is nuts.
Wild.
well.
But yeah, I think
I had a little highlight on 60. It's still talking about
Yeah, dive in.
realized income. It says most millionaires measure their success by their net worth, not by their realized income. For the purposes of wealth building, income doesn't matter that much. Once you're in the high income bracket, say 100,000 to 200,000 or more, it matters less how much more you make and more what you do with what you already have. So I was just like, then it goes kind of back to talking about like, once you get to that point, like 100,000, 200,000, like you're in the high income bracket, then you have to you're bringing in so much money. It matters how you're bringing that money in and like what you're doing with it compared to like needing to make more money.
Mhm.
Like I feel like that income bracket is like qualification for the millionaire. Like
Just
if you're
making that
making
six
100
figures.
to 200,000, like at a minute, like that feels like okay, you should be able to over the next 20 years, over the next however many years, find ways to maximize that. I mean, like that's, you know, kind of speaking up in a lifestyle. Like you could probably live that same way whenever you're making less, but like once you're in that high of an income bracket, I do feel like it matters more. Like you know how much money, like how are you getting the money, how much is getting taxed, what are you doing with it, how are you investing it, because like there's a good amount of money coming in there.
Would you guys be okay making that for the rest of your lives? Just 100K? That's it?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I think. I mean, I'd be more comfortable with like 150, but 100K, bro. How much does that come out to per month? Like,
I think you
It's
just have to
little
be
over
you just have to be
2,000 a week.
careful with saying yes to that, just in the terms of what if like there's a huge economic something,
right?
and then now all of a sudden, like just in the same way we were just talking, now
Mhm.
that 30K is 60K,
Mhm.
now that 100K is like 20K, because
Right.
like now the average annual income is like 200,000.
Well,
Like oh well, I'm
let's
making
say
100.
let's
Like
say
that's
it's
what I'm saying.
adjusted
Like
for
just with the way that
inflation.
it's moving right now, like if you're talking about 100,000 compared against the field,
Mhm.
and as that tiers your amount would tier,
Mhm.
that seems feasible. That seems, if you want to talk about a frugal lifestyle, like you could probably live frugally off of $100,000 even down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
mean-
saying that also like thinking with a spouse.
Okay,
So,
okay.
you know,
Oh, that's right.
You're thinking how 100,000
Each.
for the each or
I mean,
100,000
Or
even
like
if
at
it was
least
just
your
me,
money,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Just your money, and then
Yeah,
whatever
addition,
additional
because
whatever that
even
would be.
if she's making like what 60 to 70K, like
Because I do feel like that
That'd
would
be
be.
good.
solid.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it
guys would be
depends on
good.
who you're married to and stuff, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
or whoever you're with. But
Mhm.
it's like it comes down to some people don't want to work. Like if you could provide that lifestyle, like even for me, like if say my wife didn't want to work and you have kids, there's so much benefits to having a stay-at-home mom. But
Right.
if they do want to work, then you obviously just get the benefit of the additional income.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I mean, 100, bro. 100K would not be bad. 2K a week, roughly.
is that what that is?
Pre-tax.
Is
Yeah.
that what that is?
Yeah.
Pre-tax.
Yeah, 2K a week's like 110.
Yeah.
So you
I
like
feel like I'd be.
walk away with like what is it?
Well, like 18. Less than that. Break my heart. Probably like
seriously.
12. Probably like 12.
It's like 20%. So what is that?
It's 20%. It's probably like 1750.
You walk away with like 90
Okay.
per
It's
year.
not bad.
Oh, okay.
It's not bad
I was
for
thinking per week.
tax.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So what is that? It's like 1,800 or something.
Yeah.
17.
You say? Would you say 12?
No, 1750.
Yeah,
I said
see.
12. I
I
said
was like,
probably 12.
alright.
I said probably
I was
12.
like, dang, dude. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, we're
gosh.
getting down
I
to
just realized. Are we really? Wow, we really are.
I know we only got
Yeah.
like 5, 10
Wow,
pages
this kind of
left.
flew. I'm trying to think. I had something on 67.
I'm on 65, so I'll go first. Top of
Go ahead.
65, they're going, what is the relationship between realized income and wealth? And then it jumps down that people accumulate significant wealth by minimizing their realized taxable income and maximizing their unrealized non-taxable income. This is something I'm highlighting because I have basically no feel on like kind of what, especially taxes, but just like realized, unrealized income and kind of like how that plays out in the landscape, because all I know is that taxes in the United States are much different than everything else. Like nowhere else in the world are you getting income tax, property tax, all like tax on everything, sales tax, like tax everywhere that you spend your money. There's taxes on it everywhere. It's not that common for the economy to be that way. So then if there's ways to finagle the system, maybe not even that, but there's ways to work around it or do something differently, that could save you tons of money. Like, I mean, I feel like some of the smarter people know how to not play the system, but know how to use the system to their advantage in the sense of, what's coming in, how they're getting paid. As simple as if you can get paid in cash, that's a huge advantage in some ways. So, I mean,
Well, it's
in some ways.
paid in cash. The only huge advantage is because people lie
Yeah.
and they don't.
Right.
They don't. You're supposed to.
Report.
Just
that.
to report,
it,
report
yeah.
the income.
Yeah.
Okay, so take that back. I'm not getting paid in cash anyways. My pay stubs. Yeah. But no, but you get my point.
Yeah.
You get my point. The way that
For
we're
sure.
taxed here in the United States of America, we are
It's-
united in hating it.
Yeah.
We are. I think we're all
Agreed.
united in hating it. Gotta love the opportunities. Seems a little shady at times, but still, like, if there's ways to like kind of understand it better, I haven't made a real effort to. So yeah, paying my taxes on everything, it's fine. But I feel like some people, yeah, it'd be tough to convince me otherwise that there's not certain ways that you can get stuff done that not everybody knows. If they take the liberty to
Oh,
go and learn
yeah.
that, then that's good.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, and well, sometimes you don't even need to learn it. You just, get the right tools, the right people around you to
Right.
help with that.
Yeah.
That's why you get a good financial advisor,
mhm.
keep you on track, and then you have your CPA that make
Writes
sure
off everything.
that make sure that everything's compliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
yeah, man, CPA. What is it? There's a list in here. It's like top friends or something. It's like CPA.
That
Tax
might be ahead.
advisor,
I don't remember
lawyer.
reading that.
There's
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
the like the 5 people on
That
here.
you need, yeah, that
Yeah.
you need to kind of have in your life.
But I thought this was interesting, and I think the readers would like to know on page 67 was, what if your goal is to become financially independent? I would like to be like that
For
in
sure.
2025. I don't
Mhm.
think 2024 because we're gonna be hopefully buying a house and we're going through all this different stuff. But
Building.
hopefully by 2025. But it says, what is your goal to become financially independent? Your plan should be to sacrifice high consumption today for financial independency tomorrow. Every dollar you earn to spend is the first discounted by the taxman. Earning $100,000 may be required to purchase a $68,000 boat, for example. Millionaires tend to think this way. Why only minority? That's why only a minority own boats. Do you plan to live on that boat after you retire, or would you prefer to live on a $3 million pension plan? Can you do both? Question mark.
$3 million pension sounds nice.
Yeah. And then I had highlighted like a big section on 69. Other than that,
I had one more middle of 68. It's just kind of like a statement. It's easier to accumulate wealth if you don't live in a high status neighborhood. I do think that like that goes to the whole. It's probably easier to save all your money if you're making all that money and you're not in the NBA, because everybody around you is wanting to go and do this and hang with the girls and go to the club and pop bottles and stuff. And not even if you do that, then you want a nice car or you want nice clothes because you got the pregame fits on the way through the tunnel and the stuff like that. So, I mean, I would agree too, because they even talk about like, no, you're gonna see. I think it's in this book. They talk about like, driving home the janitor van into this super nice neighborhood and leaving it parked in the driveway, and it's like they're looking at you some type of way, but you actually have more money than them.
Yeah.
But to certain people, and this has got to be more. I don't know if it's more prevalent in the United States, but we're so judgy here that it's just like, even if they have more money than you, you wouldn't look at them as respect. You would just be like, you're dumb for not spending it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, spend your money. You're driving this, or at least, like they said, just move out. Like, they'd rather you don't fit in with the high consumer, with the high consumption, with the nice cars and the nice, stuff like that lifestyle. Like, you're just a simple person. What's the point of you wanting to live in this high expensive neighborhood anyways? And if you kind of forward think that, just probably better to stay out of it. Go build your own house in its own land and stay low key like you want to anyways, right? Like, if you're a frugal person, you're not trying to, it doesn't even make sense. So like, don't put yourself in that tough situation just to kind of fit in or whatever.
yeah, if you can't handle the social pressure,
Yeah. That's how it is for us now in our neighborhood. My parents, like,
are they really?
their cars are so old. But my pops, he just doesn't care. Like, they literally just sold a house. He could have
People
just
don't
went
care,
and
yeah.
bought a new car for himself and my mom. But they're just like, yeah, I'm keeping this money. Like, I want to keep the money. We'll just repair the cars as we need to. And then all this money we accumulate from not having to pay a car note, not having to pay high insurance,
Mm-hmm.
like, we'll be able to just buy a nice car in cash, and then that'll just be that. So
Yeah.
that's how it is now, bro. Our neighbors, Benz, BMW, Teslas,
We're in
multiple,
Florida,
like,
baby.
yeah,
We're in Florida.
yeah, it's crazy. But us, on the other hand, we're just in the driveway. My 1997 Toyota Avalon and a like 1995 Ford Escape, and they're just, yeah. My parents, they have the money. It's just like, whatever.
Respect, man.
Hey,
Yeah, respect.
They're like the
They're not gonna
millionaires
get
next
it from
door.
the, yeah, if they're not gonna get it from the people in the neighborhood, they can get it from us.
Yeah.
Respect.
I really liked how it ends right here with 69, and it goes, it's your choice. Perhaps you will make a better one than a young stockbroker Bob we recently advised. We gave him the same advice about the ideal ratio of home to price income. This is a 37-year-old broker who had a total realized income of $84,000. He wanted advice about buying a $310,000 home. He planned to make a down payment of $60,000, and he also planned to become wealthy. Carrying a $250,000 mortgage, we felt, would be an impediment to his goal. We suggested that he buy something less expensive, such as a $200,000 home with a $140,000 mortgage. This would make it within the parameters of the rule. Bob rejected this advice. He did not want to live in a neighborhood full of truckers and construction workers, he said. After all, he is a financial consultant with a college and a college graduate. But what Bob does not realize is that many construction workers and their spouses have a combined incomes of more than $84,000, which Bob makes less of course, and his mortgage broker told him he would qualify for a $250,000 mortgage. But like that's like asking a fox to estimate the number of chickens in your coop.
That's great. Yeah. Great setup.
Yeah. And then
That's where it matters
it.
who's in your corner, right? That's
Yeah.
where it really does matter who's in your corner. You don't want yes men
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. It's very true. Like, hey, you could get approved for a $500,000 house. It's like, oh, that's
you
awesome.
could do a lot of things.
And then you're like, that's a really nice house. But then you're like, holy cow, like, why do that right now?
It goes back to the perceived threat of your lifestyle. Like you want to have that money and you want to have that, like if it's like, oh, I don't want to be. Yeah, it really comes down, and I think it really just comes down to like, do you care about the way everyone else perceives you?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost something you have to address head on before you can do anything else. Like if this is gonna bother you, you're gonna have a hard time doing it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much that whole setup theme for this first section is like, bro, you don't have to spend your money.
millionaires
Like, you
don't look the way you think they look.
Yeah, like
right?
it's fine. You could it's better to just have the money and people not know, basically.
Yeah.
That's true. Because I mean, celebrities almost feel like they gotta do that because they're always out having pictures taken of them.
Yes.
You know, it's like almost all of them would say, I'd rather have the money and not the fame, but that's just not the way that career works. Like, so I mean, you don't get to get that much money and not get that much fame. It's like being in Hollywood or being whatever. Like, you can try and like get your money and get out if you really hate it that much, but like in general, like, yeah, that kind of comes one and the same.
Yeah, they have to upkeep that lifestyle, that persona that they have. So
if they want to, like, and then you do have the rare, like, I do feel like Nikola Jokic is different. He's like one of the few people who tries to open, like, no, I don't even, but he's like almost like, I don't, like, basketball's a job.
Yeah.
Like, I just go play basketball. I really like horses over in, I forget where he's from.
Serbia,
yeah. I really like horses and stuff like that. Like, that's his passion. He says he wants to disappear, no phone, all this stuff like that down the line. Like, that's someone who doesn't care what other people are saying because he gets criticized for it and he just doesn't hear it.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Which is crazy to me. Like, why are you criticizing this man? He's one of the greatest athletes on earth, and you're telling this man, like, that's crazy that you don't want to spend money.
America.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Consumerism, America. It's crazy.
Wow.
Man.
But that wrapped up the first part of this book, all the way to 71. And we will be diving back in. Quick and early turnaround. On Wednesday, we were reading from page 71, all the way to page 141.
141.
141.
139 is where
Yeah.
it ends. But yep.
Yep.
Perfect.
And,
Come back and see us.
Yeah, guys. So if you like that first part, definitely make sure to tune in. We do this live as well. If you want to chat about whatever you read, feel free to look us up on our social medias or YouTube.
I don't know that we ever look up at the TV to like, will you imagine we got like some great insight up there one day?
Oh my goodness.
We're like, no, they were talking about the first chapter.
Ecstatic. I would be ecstatic.
talking
They're like, wait, what about your thoughts on page 19? We're like, we're going back to 19,
What?
guys.
Yeah,
we're going back to 19.
Back to 19. It's just like, you see at the bottom, 0 viewers. No, he left.
Oh,
We didn't have time.
but But yeah, so page 71 all the way to up to page 141.
You're such a clown.
We looked at it. Oh my goodness. Had such a good. I got Landon so
Dude,
good this weekend.
Wrap the book club part up first.
Okay. But yeah, guys. So make sure to tune in for our Wednesday live stream as well if you want to hear what highlights that we took for part 2.
What kind of insights
But-
we got? That wraps up.
The Millionaire Next Door
Boom.
part 1. Moving on to our short snippets. But before that, got
bro,
Landon.
This is
hard
This guy's such
today.
a joker, man.
All right. So I went over to his house.
Joker.
I was helping him swap out some locks because he just recently moved. And so took out his first lock. We're like, all right, let's put in the old lock. We're looking for it. We're missing one part. We're like, all right, like, hey, let's just swing over to Walmart. We'll just get another lock, $10 or whatever, and we'll just swap. We'll put it in. So we go there, pick up the lock. Everything's fine. We get back, and I'm like,
We're about to get out of the car.
we're about to get out of the
In the
car,
driveway.
and I'm like, bro, man, hey, did you get the left-handed lock or the right-handed lock? And I was like, it depends because it's how the door swings. And this man looked at me, white face, was checking the box for if it said left hand or right hand on it for the longest time.
Bro.
For at least like 30 seconds. He's just sitting there looking at me. I'm looking at it this way. Here's the worst part is I've convinced myself that I got the wrong one.
Yeah.
Dude, because I'm looking at it, the way I look at it, I'm just like holding it up and I'm looking at the door. And I'm like, oh, this thing definitely turns left, not right.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, no. And then he looks at me and he's like, I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious,
Oh
bro.
gosh, dude.
He got you.
Dude,
That was good. That's
absolutely
really good.
Yeah, I mean, I about tackled him. I literally, I'll lay you out in this lawn right now.
But
I was just sitting there, dude. I was just like, man, already annoyed because I was like, we had everything from the old
Right.
lock except for one back piece.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is this?
Yeah.
How does that even happen? So whatever, we'll go spend like $12 on a lock. Come back, I'm just sitting there in the seat. He says that, I'm just like, you, dude. I was like, I don't need more
That was
drama in
good.
my life.
That's a good one.
It was pretty good.
all right. Are we ready for our short snippets?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll get this cracked off. This one will pertain to Miguel
Here
very
we go.
soon.
Hey, wait, what are you doing? Oh, here we go.
Fun fact of the day: use a hairdryer to get crayon marks off the wall.
What the heck? Really?
Yeah.
Wish my mom would
To,
have known
hit
that.
to get crayon marks off the wall. That is
Crayon
definitely a
marks.
random fact. Pretty
There's
fun
your
as
fun
well.
fact
That's
of the
good.
day.
I'm gonna try it. Would
I
that
know, I'm getting a crayon.
would that melt it? That
Yeah,
I feel like that makes
melts
sense.
off the wax.
And then you just
You
wipe
just
it down.
wipe
and you
it
just
off.
wipe it off.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, what are crayon consistencies? I guess they are
wax.
just
Yeah,
wax.
it's
I
dyed
haven't like
wax.
colored
Yeah.
with a crayon in forever.
Wow.
with a-
Crayon. What do you call it? How do you
Dude,
say it?
how do you say it?
Oh, no. How do I say it?
How do you say it?
Crayon.
Crayon. Wait a second.
No way. Say it.
How do you say it?
No, how do you
No,
say
how do
it?
you say it? I've already said it a
Crayon.
couple. Crayon.
No. You
What
say,
am I-
you say
what am-
crayon.
Crayon? Dude, that's a weird word. How do you spell it? C-R-A?
Y-O-N.
Oh,
Crayon. Yeah, crayon.
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 Hearing it,
Crayon.
his initial.
Yo,
yeah.
why? I mean,
Nah,
I don't
he's
know.
like
Now you
missing
got
a
me.
letter.
Yeah, I don't know. You got me.
You're saying
Yeah.
it with no
You
Y.
You got me
You're good. You're
overanalyzing
good.
it. If we said it
You're
in a
good.
regular, like outside of this, I feel like it would have been fine.
I might
Yeah,
have to
color
hand
with
you one.
crayons. Right?
Okay, see,
Crayons?
So it's a little off.
there's like an
to you?
accent.
There is a little.
Oh, I'm
You're
from
not-
this. I got maybe a little country accent with it.
Yeah, you're not
There's
saying
an
the
accent.
Y.
Sorry, boys.
But there's your fun fact of the day. All
Crayon.
right,
Oh
who
my-
wants to go next? Who's got
I'll
is it
go.
thought provoking or quote?
Oh,
You are
let-
not
let's
at
go with this
all
quote.
getting on to me for how I pronounce stuff, dude. You say some of the most wild.
Oh no, I
things.
butcher it. No, I butcher the word
That's
for sure.
hilarious. Yeah,
No,
mine's just
but
a little off on
I
that one.
picked
I
up
think
on
it's
it.
got to be the accent. It's
It
gotta be
has
the
to be.
accent.
There's definitely an accent there,
Crayon.
bro. That's all it is.
Because I feel I've never been told like you say it weird, but I don't say it that often, so it's not a
Yeah,
word that
sure.
comes up much. Either way,
Yeah, so our quote of the day. Just because there is a bend in the road does not mean that is the end of the road.
who's
Good.
There you go. I don't know who said it, but I
that?
saw it.
Oh, I
somewhere.
like that.
Oh, I was to say, it was like
Forrest
he's not
Gump.
looking this one up. It's coming
Forrest
from
Gump.
memory.
Come on now.
Forrest Gump.
48 laws, just make it look easy.
Hey, there it is. That's great. All right, here we go. So for the thought-provoking question, since we're talking about or kind of just going to go on brand with our Millionaire Next Door book. So they talk about all this stuff, like the millionaires, they don't spend a lot of money on like super, like on shoes or on clothes, something random like that. But what is the first thing you had like a lot of money? What would be your first big purchase? Some people are more invested in like, I'm definitely getting a nice car, or I'm getting a nice house, or I'm doing like, what would be the first thing you'd be like, where you've thought about it, I'd spend some nice money on that just because that's what I want. If you're not a car person, you would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not that invested in, if you don't worry about the house too much, you don't want a giant house to have to take care of it yourself, then you wouldn't do that. What do you think would be something like, okay, now I'm financially free. I can spend money on this and won't even notice. So I want to get this nice because I want to have this nice object, whatever it would be. What do you think that'd be for you guys?
I'd say like definitely a nicer car. Probably like a Tesla or something.
I like that.
And then maybe like I don't know about a Rolex, but maybe just like a nicer watch.
A nice watch.
Yeah, just like a nice.
Would you be a one watch person then, like a nice watch, or is that kickstarting because you're
No,
like a watch
probably.
company?
Well,
Or
I'd
would you
probably
wanna-
say like maybe a couple watches, depending on the like outfit.
so
And maybe
almost like
maybe a nice.
so like
suit,
a
too.
like a silver, gold, and black watch, or
Yeah,
like some like
and then
like
a good.
that you like your
Yeah,
rotation.
that's probably would be. I'd probably go out and be like, hey, I'm gonna get the 5. Because what is it like? You need like 5 suits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all you really need. I'd
Mhm.
probably get the 5 good suits from JCPenney or
Mhm.
wherever, and then
But that's
get
that's not the expensive portion. So I'm saying, what would you spend money on? So you'd say watches on
What-
your watch collection,
right. No, like
because the suit collection you try, if you're getting it from JCPenney's and not Brooks Brothers, then you're saving on the suits. You're not spending your high money on the suits. So just because you're getting the suits doesn't make it your high value item. You
well,
see what I'm saying?
to me, like suits in general, though, is a high value item.
Yeah, but you're not spending luxurious money. You're missing the point of the question.
Oh,
Mm.
You
well,
know, you're spending
kinda.
a lot of
I
money
mean,
on
to
it.
me-
Like
Saying
then you'd
If you're
say
gonna
car. Then.
flex it,
Yeah,
flex your money.
yeah.
what do you
Like
buy?
it's something high quality. I mean, I guess JCPenney
like if
works
we
for
had
you.
FU money,
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, sure.
like just like out of the world, like
No, I said financially free, not FU money.
oh, okay. Well, those are yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's
well,
why you're
if it
shopping
was-
at JCPenney.
If
am I
it was
right?
if it was financially free,
If you
yeah,
got FU money,
I
you're
get
going to-
5 suits,
yeah.
5 different watches, and then a nice car, like a
Okay.
Tesla, and that'd be
Nice.
it. And I'd be happy.
I'd be happy.
Then I'd be
I
like,
like
that. I
I'd be
love
like, okay, I'll be perfect.
Alright.
Like I'm good.
I'm definitely going with watches because I mean, if you look at it, even Rolexes, the appreciation level of them, if you keep them, don't bust down a Rolex. I will say that on the podcast. Do not flood your Rolex with diamonds. It's not good.
Oh, when you ice
And
it, yeah.
like do
Oh,
not.
it like loses its
Don't
value.
do that.
Oh,
Yes.
it's like
Do
putting stickers on a
not
car.
do that, bro. Like you wouldn't like what is the quote? You wouldn't give a Ferrari like a paint job, a different type
Well,
of paint
there's
job.
some thing. I know what you're saying. There's a
Yeah.
few different analogies. Like you don't put this on that.
Right.
Like yeah, that's what like some girls say. Like you wouldn't put
Putting lipstick
this on
on a
that. Like
horse.
I don't got
Yeah.
tattoos, or you don't put this on that.
Yeah.
Or, like I forget what
But
the greatest examples of
Don't
analogies.
don't
are.
do that. I'm definitely getting watches.
Watches.
I do want to start a watch collection. Like, but the crazy thing, watch levels, like you literally have to buy a certain one in order for you to be able to buy the next one. So, or you have to know somebody who knows somebody.
Watch people are crazy.
Yeah,
man.
bro,
There's
it's
I was on
insane.
like watch TikTok for a while.
Mhm.
Like there was a period of time where I was just like watching these guys like go hustle for watches and
Mhm.
like talk about different watches. Man, it's like deep, extensive knowledge.
Yeah, bro.
When it comes to watches.
Yeah.
And like to go to your point, that's what I always tell people whenever like, cause I was like a huge sneakerhead. I guess I still kind of am. I just don't spend as much money on it anymore. But like they would say like, you got this nice sneaker collection. They all look brand new. Like how do you like I want to get started with the sneaker collection. All right, the easy thing is like, what shoe should I get? I
Mhm.
said none. Get 5. Save up and get 5 shoes. If you buy one nice shoe, it's going to get ran into the ground. It's not going to make it long term. So get 5, get 7 shoes, one for every day of the week until you can slowly add to it where that way you're not going, $150 every month and just running whatever shoe you have into the ground. Like if you really like it, get it to where you only have to wear it every so often. And like that's the best way to like start a collection so you're not just, wearing the one watch and all of a sudden it's the same color as your skin.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
but that's what I was
Oh,
talking about.
watches.
So
And
yours
then-
would be watches, like
No.
nice watches.
Yeah, watches, and then like, bro, I want to buy like I would buy like a small building, like a small warehouse,
Really?
just in like an investment property.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what I would do.
Commercial.
Yeah, something like this, bro. Pay. Well, I mean, depending on how much money we have. Like, if I'm financially free, I'll take out the loan, buy something like this, and then just let it pay me. Let it pay the loan back by itself, and
There you
then
Go
I'll
property.
yeah. I think that would be the best thing.
All right.
good.
Final answer, Landon.
So I would first off, I'm similar to you with the car. Like I would want to get a nice car that's like not gas. You know, something
So,
where
like,
I can stop paying
electric,
for gas. Yeah,
EV,
stop
yeah.
paying for gas, plug in.
Yeah.
Like we're just going like so many places anyways. I would want that to be my car and then get one travel car because right now my car is kind of the travel car. I don't know that, you know, wanting to travel in an electric car and having to, I don't know
It's
enough
rough.
about it to how that would
It's
want to be
usually
yet.
Rough.
the good combo because yeah, like you're limited to like 3, maybe 400.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like. I would want that just so along the same lines of Tesla. I don't know if that's the one I would choose, but I've always kind of been drawn to it. And then the other thing I would say is I would want to get like season tickets to a team.
I like that.
Like that would be mine. Like I would want to have if I had like plenty of money,
Yeah,
I'd be like every single home game I'm supporting this team.
nice.
Every single home game I'm going to it. Like we have friends that you know do that for the Tampa Bay Lightning. We got some friends that do that for the Rays, stuff like that. It's really within the realm of possibility for
Mhm.
finances. Like some places, I mean, the Detroit Pistons, you can go to every single home game for the rest of the year for like $1,200.
Yeah.
Come on,
Maybe
dude.
cheaper.
Really?
Yeah.
maybe
Well, I mean,
cheaper.
they're historically bad.
Maybe cheaper.
They're historically bad, but like at the same time, even put
It's
it to
pretty
your
crazy,
spin it to
though.
your
Yeah.
you know, in California the prices are crazy, but like even in this area, like I don't know, maybe $5,000, maybe $10,000, and if you're financially free and that's like the investment and you're paying for all the stuff on the front end and then you obviously get perks whenever you do stuff like that too, that'd be fun. Like I want to go to like sporting events and stuff like that. I like getting to watch people
Live.
live
Yeah,
and
bro.
just like we're getting to watch some of the best in the world right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like I've gotten to see, you know, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. I've gotten to see Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic and Steph Curry and like
That's crazy,
it's just
bro.
it's like cool, and you say those names and then it's just cool.
Yeah.
So I find like a lot of value in like going and doing something like that. My wife would say Universal Orlando passes. That's what
very
she would wanna
doable.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
which is doable. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's a but
yeah.
not when you don't have money to go there all the time and
Right.
the time to
True,
go there all the
true.
time. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
once you get to that financially free where it's like these days, like I'm cutting out early every single Tuesday, Thursday that there's a home game just because I can, because I've done the work on the front end or whatever. Obviously not getting to the point where you're not working anymore, but just adjusting it because it brings you happiness
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
That's a good balance.
Yeah, that's mine, I guess.
I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
That's gonna have to conclude another great episode of the book club.
That
Bros.
might have been our smoothest go through the book, through a chapter and like everything right now.
Yeah,
That was solid.
that was good. We
Ran
did
through
good.
that.
We did good. But yeah, guys.
Come back and
So
join us.
as a reminder, 71 to 141
39.
up to 141.
It's 39.
We'll be reading, guys. So till next time. Peace.